Chapter 1578. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had been restored, but her gaze was even colder. She looked at Imo Yang and said, "Imo Yang, you are really despicable. You actually colluded with the Celestial Sect and the Poison Clan to assassinate Lu Ming. You are indeed worthy of being one of the top 10 evildoers in the Zhangzhou." Her words were full of mockery. "Junior sister, what did you say?" Imo Yang's face changed slightly, and he revealed an ugly smile. "What did I say? You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? How did the Celestial Sect and the Poison Clan know where we are? Moreover, they were able to set up an ambush here so precisely. If it wasn't someone who tipped them off, then what was it? You deliberately looked for us before, and then you were with us to tip us off, right?" Xian Yanqing said coldly. She was smart enough to think that meeting Imo Yang was purely a coincidence, but now that she thought about it, she knew that everything had been arranged by Imo Yang. "Junior sister, don't slander me." Imo Yang's face was cold. "Humph, you know best whether you did it or not. I'm warning you, don't follow me anymore. Otherwise, I will kill you," Xian Yanqing said coldly. She then moved and flew toward the tornado that Lu Ming and the others were in. "Bitch, bitch. Sooner or later, I will make you beg for mercy in front of me." Looking at Xian Yanqing's back as she left, Imo Yang's eyes were full of malevolence, as well as a dense and scorching evil desire. Xian Yanqing came outside the tornado that Lu Ming had entered and watched from afar. Whoosh, the tornado whistled and slowly moved toward the Tianfeng plains. Xian Yanqing followed the tornado and moved inside. After half a day, Xian Yanqing's face changed. This was because many tornadoes had appeared in front of them. This tornado had actually merged with the other tornadoes. Many tornadoes had appeared there, blocking Xian Yanqing's path forward. "Lu Ming, you have the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram is something that can only be refined by an emperor-level powerhouse. It should be able to block the power of the tornadoes," Xian Yanqing whispered. Even so, her eyes were still full of worry. She stood there for a long time until Lu Ming's tornado was completely out of sight. Only then did she leave. As Lu Ming and the others were thrown into the tornadoes, the terrifying wind howling and spinning, they were constantly cutting the poisonous vines outside. The poisonous vines were formed from the power of laws and were incomparably tough. However, in the gale, they were quickly cut apart and turned to ashes. Sizzle, the fierce wind sliced the black wings, causing sparks to fly in all directions. The black wings trembled unceasingly as they emitted an ear-piercing sound. "Damn it, we've been blasted into a tornado!" Tian Chui roared. "What? We. Xuanixin frowned. "Dong!" After a while, the black wings vibrated more and more violently. Lu Ming's chaotic domain that covered the black wings could not withstand the cutting of the wind at all. Soon, the chaotic domain was cut open. Lu Ming's body trembled. A terrifying force poured into his body through the black wings. "Senior brother, senior sister, let's go into the mountain and river diagram," Lu Ming said. The mountain and river diagram was a treasure that could only be refined by an emperor-level powerhouse. It should be able to block the cutting of the wind. As for how to get out, they could only think of a way later. The wind here was too strong. It was so strong that even with Bubble's cultivation realm, she could not open a space-time tunnel to rush out. Because once the space-time tunnel was opened, it would be destroyed by the wind. Then, Lu Ming's glabella shone. He kept Sky Hammer and Xuanixin into the mountain and river diagram. Just as he was about to enter the mountain and river diagram, his expression suddenly changed. Because at this time, he felt that the air-frozen pearl in his sea of consciousness was vibrating slightly. The air-frozen pearl is a wind attribute treasure. Maybe it can restrain the wind. Lu Ming was overjoyed. With a thought, the air-frozen pearl flew out from Lu Ming's glabella and suspended above Lu Ming's head. The air-frozen bead vibrated slightly and a ray of green light shone down, shrouding Lu Ming. At this moment, the vibration of the black wings disappeared. Lu Ming could feel that the gale automatically bypassed the energy emitted by the air-frozen bead. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The air-frozen pearl was indeed useful. Then, Lu Ming put away the black wings. A green halo enveloped Lu Ming. No matter how the wind whistled outside, when it encountered the green halo, it automatically bypassed it. Whoosh! At this moment, a green light flew from below the tornado. It was a green crystal, the size of a fist. It's a wind crystal. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He recognized this kind of crystal. The wind crystal was a kind of crystal that only appeared in places with extremely rich wind elements after a long time. It was a wind attribute treasure and was very precious. The wind crystal flew directly to the air-frozen bead and disappeared into it. Lu Ming felt that the light on the air-frozen pearl seemed to be more intense. With a chirp, a bird flew out from the air-frozen pearl and circled around it, as if it was cheering. The air-frozen pearl was absorbing the energy of the wind crystal. Lu Ming looked around. There was wild wind in all directions, blocking his sight. He could not see the outside scene at all. However, Lu Ming had a feeling that the tornado was constantly moving. After an unknown period of time, suddenly, another wind crystal flew up from below and integrated into the air-frozen pearl. The air-frozen pearl emitted a light that was brighter. Seeing this scene, Lu Ming was not in a hurry to go out. Instead, he went into the mountain river diagram and the sky hammer. Xuanixin said something and went out again. He let the air-frozen pearl float and waited quietly. About half a day later, the air-frozen pearl absorbed a total of 5 wind crystals. Rumble. There was a burst of vibration outside the tornado. Is it merging with other tornadoes? Lu Ming guessed. At this time, the bird on the air-frozen pearl chirped, flapped its wings, and flew to the side. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He controlled the air-frozen pearl to fly to the side of the tornado. The tornado could not hinder them at all. Lu Ming went directly through the tornado and saw that there was another tornado next to it. As soon as Lu Ming came out, he entered another tornado. Whoosh! As soon as he entered the tornado, a wind crystal flew into the air-frozen pearl. It turns out that the air-frozen pearl wants to absorb the wind crystal. Then let it absorb as much as it wants. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. He controlled the air-frozen pearl to fly under the tornado. Soon, it absorbed another 5 wind crystals. Then, Lu Ming controlled the air-frozen pearl to rush out of the tornado. Lu Ming discovered that there were many tornadoes gathered and they were close together. Lu Ming did not look at it and continued to rush into the next tornado. Lu Ming did not know how long had passed. He had entered more than 10 tornadoes and the wind-calming bead had absorbed dozens of wind crystals. The wind-calming bead was extremely rich and sparkling and dazzling. It's almost done. Let's go out and see what's going on. Lu Ming said in his heart. Then, he controlled the air-frozen pearl to go out of the tornado. Outside, there was an open space. Chapter 1579. Tornadoes surrounded the area, and there was no way out. Lu Ming waved his hand, and Tian Shui and Xuanixin came out of the mountain river diagram. Junior brother, where are we? As soon as Tian Shui appeared, a giant hammer appeared in his hand, and he looked around. We should be in the depths of the Tianfeng Plains, surrounded by tornadoes. Lu Ming said. Oh! Tian Shui and Xuanixin looked around, and when they saw that there was no danger, they breathed a sigh of relief. Damn it, I'll kill anyone from the Celestial God sect and the Desire Poison clan when I see them in the future. But how did they find us before? They even ambushed us there. Tian Shui cursed. It must be Mo Yang. He colluded with the Celestial God sect and the Desire Poison clan. That's why we were ambushed. Xuanixin said. Senior sister is right. It wasn't a coincidence that Mo Yang met us. He deliberately found us and then ambushed us. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had thought of this when they were ambushed by the Celestial God sect and the Desire Poison clan. Therefore, he let Mo Yang take Xian Yanqing away because he knew that Xian Yanqing would not be in danger if Mo Yang took Xian Yanqing away. Mo Yang. It's him. I'll crush him sooner or later. Tian Chui said with a murderous look. Lu Ming nodded. He would kill Mo Yang sooner or later. This area is surrounded by tornadoes. There must be something unusual. Let's check it out nearby. Lu Ming said. Tian Chui and Xuaningxi nodded, and the three of them went forward to check the area. The area was quite wide, spanning dozens of miles. What's that over there? It seems to be feathers. Xuaningxi suddenly pointed forward. The three of them rushed over and found that the ground was full of holes, and some feathers were scattered. These are phoenix feathers. Lu Ming was shocked. He had gotten a few phoenix feathers before, so he would never be mistaken. The feathers scattered on the ground were all phoenix feathers. There were more than a dozen of them. They really are phoenix feathers. It seems that there is a divine phoenix living in the Tianfeng Plains. Tian Chui said. Senior brother, senior sister, the phoenix feather is very useful to me. I don't know if you can give it to me. I'm willing to use other treasures to offset it. Lu Ming said. He could let his second body refine the phoenix feather flying sword. Previously, there were only 5 phoenix feather flying swords, and the phoenix feathers used in those 5 phoenix feather flying swords were not of a very high level. However, the phoenix feathers in front of him exuded a faint saintly aura. Clearly, they were left behind by a saintly phoenix. If they were refined into phoenix feather flying swords, they would be even more powerful. Furthermore, the more phoenix feather flying swords there were, the more powerful the sword formation would be. Junior brother, what are you saying? If you have a use for it, just take it all. Why do you need to offset it? Xuaning thought. That's right. You saved our lives just now. You're treating me like an outsider. I'm not happy about that. Tian Chui grinned. Thank you, senior brothers and sisters. Lu Ming cupped his fists and waved his hand. The dozen phoenix feathers on the ground were all taken into the mountain river diagram and landed in the second body's hand. This place is full of potholes. It's obvious that there was a great battle. It seems that the divine phoenix was severely injured. Could it be that the cry of the phoenix was made after it was severely injured? Xuaning guessed. It's possible. Let's take a look again. Lu Ming nodded and said. Then, the three of them continued to investigate. However, the three of them were highly focused. If a saintly phoenix was injured, it was obvious that the opponent of the saintly phoenix was extremely powerful. Whether it was a human or a divine beast, they had to be careful. Along the way, the ground was full of potholes. It could be seen how fierce the battle was. On the way, Lu Ming and the others found a few more phoenix feathers, which were all put away by Lu Ming. Not long after, they found a deep pit. The pit was more than 500 meters in length and width and more than 1,000 meters deep. When the three of them saw it, they speculated that there used to be a huge ancient tree. Now, it had been dug away, including its roots. Phoenix incense wood. The three of them looked at each other and thought of the phoenix incense wood. Perhaps the divine phoenix lived on the phoenix incense wood. Now, the divine phoenix was injured and missing, and the phoenix incense wood had been dug away by someone. There are scattered tree roots over there. Tian Chui's eyes saw tree roots in the deep pit. The three of them flew down and saw a tree root. It was as thick as a thigh and emitted a strange fragrance. It was definitely the phoenix incense wood. Let's look again. There might be some scattered tree roots. Lu Ming said. The three of them began to search, turning over the soil in the deep pit. Indeed, the three of them found quite a number of tree roots. The value of the phoenix incense wood's tree roots was even more valuable than the tree branches. The three of them divided it equally and gained a lot. It's a pity that the entire phoenix incense wood has been dug away. Otherwise, how much would it be worth if we got it? Tian Chui's eyes lit up. The phoenix incense wood could help a martial artist calm his mind. Any martial artist would need it. How many martial artists were there in Yuanlu? No one knew. The phoenix incense wood was definitely something that everyone would fight for. An entire phoenix incense wood could be sold for a lot of origin stones. The three of them searched carefully again. After finding nothing, they left the place. Soon, the three of them were shocked because they found a person. To be more precise, there was a blood pit there. A figure was sitting cross-legged in the blood pit. Eden. Lu Ming was shocked. That figure was actually Eden from the Divine Ruins Continent group. Lu Ming had a deep impression of this person. This person's bloodline was a Phoenix Guqin. He could play the divine tune of the Phoenix and was very powerful. Eden was actually able to enter this place. At this moment, Eden was sitting cross-legged in the blood pit. The blood in the blood pit turned into phantoms of phoenixes and entered Eden's body. The blood was obviously the blood of the phoenix. Lu Ming, do you know this person? Tian Chui asked. Yes, he came from the same continent group as me. He was a peerless genius in our continent group and later joined the Celestial Sect. Lu Ming said. Someone from the Celestial Sect. Tian Chui's eyes emitted a cold murderous intent. However, Eden was completely unaware of the outside world. He was fully focused on absorbing the blood of the phoenix. Bang! A moment later, an illusionary figure of a phoenix flew out from Eden's body. After letting out a cry, Eden's aura skyrocketed. Fifth layer Martial Dominator Realm. It was obvious that Eden's cultivation had broken through to the fifth layer Martial Dominator Realm. At this moment, Eden opened his eyes. When he saw Lu Ming and the others, his eyes widened and he quickly backed away. Lu Ming, it's you. Soon after, Eden let out a cry of surprise, as if it was in disbelief. Of course it's me. Why, don't you recognize me? Lu Ming said with a smile. Eden pondered for a moment before saying, Lu Ming, I've already left the Celestial Sect. Oh? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. Chapter 1580. Eden shook his head. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's philosophy and actions are not in line with my martial Tao. If I continue to stay, my cultivation progress will be even slower. Kid, you have good taste. It's good that you left. The Heavenly Divinity Sect will be destroyed by the Divine Dragon Valley sooner or later. Tian Chui laughed loudly. He would be happy whenever he heard someone belittling the Heavenly Divinity Sect. Are you the only one who left? Lu Ming asked. Ji Hongchen also left. However, after she left with me, she kept heading west and left the Tsang state. I don't know where she is now. Eden said. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was good that these people left. It would be difficult to attack the Heavenly Divinity Sect in the future. How did you enter this place? What happened here? Lu Ming asked again. Eden had entered this place earlier than them, so he might know something. I followed the crowd into the Heavenly Wind Plains. Not long after, I had a strong feeling. I followed the feeling and came here. As soon as I arrived, this place was already like this. However, the hurricane did not surround us at that time. After Yi Jian finished speaking, he looked around and frowned when he saw the whirlwind surrounding them. Lu Ming nodded. It seemed that Eden had entered this place earlier than them. Now, it seems that we have to wait for the hurricane to move before we can leave this place. Eden looked around again and said. Not necessarily. Lu Ming smiled, making Eden's eyes light up. Then, the few of them checked the area again, but they did not find anything. Eden, do you want to leave this place? I'll take you with me. Lu Ming said. Can you break through the obstruction of the hurricane? Eden asked. Of course, let's go. Lu Ming nodded. The four of them randomly chose a direction and rushed over. When they were close to the hurricane, the air-frozen pearl appeared between Lu Ming's eyebrows and scattered rays of green light. Lu Ming's heart moved. The green light turned into a green light screen and enveloped the four of them. Being enveloped by the green light screen, the four of them could not feel the wind outside. The four of them walked forward. When they entered the hurricane, they were not affected at all. This greatly surprised Eden. The four of them walked through the hurricane as if they were walking on flat ground. After a while, the four of them passed through the hurricane and arrived outside. When they arrived outside, the four of them narrowed their eyes. The reason for that was because they discovered that the area was filled with tornadoes. Tornadoes as tall as the sky were revolving around an enormous mountain peak. In the void outside the hurricane, there were many people standing there, looking at the mountain in the distance. Lu Ming and the other three immediately retracted their auras and hid in the back. People from the Desire Poison sect and the Heavenly Gods sect. When they looked forward, most of them were from the Desire Poison sect and the Celestial Gods sect. After all, the Desire Poison sect and the Heavenly Gods sect were the closest to this place. Naturally, they would have the most people here. Aside from the Desire Poison sect and the Heavenly Gods sect, the rest were martial artists from small sects and forces. Of course, there were also some people from the other 11 top sects in the Tsang province. Of course, there were only a few of them. Sky Universe Devil Sect. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he saw the people from the Sky Universe Demon Sect. He also saw Mo Yang, but he did not see Xian Yanqing. Where did Xiaoqing go? Could she be looking for me? Lu Ming guessed, and he became a little worried. Chirp, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the world. This phoenix cry was loud and clear, and it was filled with the domineering aura of the King of Birds. It was completely different from the cry of despair and unwillingness from before. The cry came from the mountain peak. This cry is completely different from the phoenix cry from before. Strange. Could there be two phoenixes here? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Then, another cry resounded through the world. Everyone's eyes looked at the mountain that was surrounded by tornadoes. Was there really a phoenix in the mountain? At this moment, the mountain shone. Then, everyone saw a phoenix soar into the sky and hover above the mountain, exuding a vast and terrifying aura. Everyone took a closer look and found that it was not a real phoenix at all. It was a phantom made of energy. Boom! Then, a beam of light rushed out from the mountain. The phoenix's cry became even more intense. As for that aura, it was even more frightening. It filled the entire region, and before that aura, everyone had the urge to kneel down and prostrate themselves in worship. What is this aura? It's so terrifying. This seems to be the aura of a weapon. It's not a living creature, but the aura is too terrifying. It's many times stronger than an ordinary sacred weapon. Could it be that there's a supreme sacred weapon inside, or, he didn't say the last sentence, but everyone's hearts were shaken. Everyone knew what that person wanted to say. Or, an emperor weapon. An emperor weapon was the exclusive weapon of an emperor-level expert. When they thought of this, many people's breathing became heavy. There was an emperor weapon hidden in the Tianfeng Plains. Especially the people of the Heavenly Divine sect and the Poison Desire sect. If a top sect could obtain an emperor weapon, they would be able to dominate Sangzhou as long as they activated a trace of its power. Even if it was not an emperor weapon, but a supreme sacred weapon, its value would still be shocking. If not for the tornadoes in front, many people would have rushed in directly. On the mountain, the phantom of a phoenix circled, and its cry became louder and louder. Send a message back and ask the Sacred Realm experts to come. Someone from the Heavenly Divine sect ordered. At the same time, someone from the Poison Desire sect also ordered. As long as someone from the other top sects was here, they would think of a way to send a message back and ask the Sacred Realm experts to come. It was suspected that an emperor weapon had appeared here. This was definitely a big matter that would shake Zhangzhou. As long as the top sects received the news, they would definitely send experts over. After the news was spread, everyone waited. It's a pity that the Dragon God Valley is too far away. Even if we send a message back, it will be too late. Tian Chui sighed. Senior brother, senior sister, wait for me here. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly said. Junior brother, what are you doing? Are you going in alone? Xuening thought. Senior sister, don't worry. I won't go in alone. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had the wind calming bead, so the tornadoes could not stop him. However, Lu Ming would not go in. With his cultivation, even if he went in and obtained the emperor weapon, he would not be able to leave. There were so many people watching. Moreover, this matter was not simple. There seemed to be a force in the dark. That force had injured the divine phoenix and dug out the phoenix incense wood. Perhaps the changes in the heavenly wind planes were caused by that force. However, that force had not shown up yet. Lu Ming would not take the risk by going in alone. Then, Lu Ming withdrew his aura and transformed into a sallow-faced young man. His aura also changed into another kind of aura. Then, he rushed forward. Chapter 1581. Whoosh! Lu Ming dashed towards the tornado. What's that kid doing? He opened his eyes after seeing the treasure. He's courting death. Some of them sneered when they saw Lu Ming dashing towards the tornado. However, when Lu Ming approached the tornado, he stopped, causing some of them to burst into laughter. They thought that Lu Ming had opened his eyes after seeing the treasure and wanted to rush over, but he was afraid at the last minute. At this moment, Lu Ming's lips curled into a sneer. His glabella shone and the wind-calming pearl appeared in his palm. Whoosh! Then, Lu Ming dashed into the tornado. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect Lu Ming to rush into the tornado. That kid has a rare treasure and is not afraid of the tornado. Someone reacted. It's that bead. Who is that kid? We must take him down. A half-saint expert from the heavenly god sect shouted coldly, his eyes burning with passion. Someone actually had a rare treasure and was not afraid of the tornado. If they could get it, wouldn't they be able to enter the mountain directly? Damn it! Did that guy enter the mountain alone? The people from the heavenly god sect and the poison sect were furious. They had already sent back news that the Sage Realm experts would be arriving soon. However, someone dared to rush into the mountain with a rare treasure. Let's surround this place. Even if that kid got a rare treasure, he won't be able to escape. Once he comes out, we'll kill him. The half-saint expert from the heavenly god sect said coldly. Rumble. At this moment, the tornado that Lu Ming had entered actually moved. It moved in the direction of the celestial divinity sect. What's going on? The heavenly god sect's people were shocked and quickly retreated. That kid's rare treasure can control the tornado. The half-saint from the heavenly god sect roared, his eyes burning with passion. He was right. The air-frozen pearl could control the tornado. Now, Lu Ming was using the air-frozen pearl to control the tornado. Lu Ming had discovered this when he was in the hurricane. After the air-frozen bead absorbed dozens of wind crystals, it had the ability to control the hurricane. Lu Ming was in the middle of the hurricane. He controlled the hurricane and swept it towards the people of the heavenly divinity sect at an increasingly faster speed. Damn it, retreat, retreat! The heavenly divinity sect's people roared and retreated quickly. Even a Saint Realm expert would die if they entered such a hurricane, let alone them. Not far away, Tian Chui and the other two were dumbstruck when they saw this. As expected of junior brother Lu Ming, amazing. After being stunned for a while, Tian Chui exclaimed in joy. As the heavenly divinity sect's people retreated quickly, Lu Ming's hurricane speed also increased. It was now several times faster than before as he chased after the heavenly divinity sect. At the scene, everyone else was shocked. Since he was able to control the hurricanes, he was simply invincible in this place. Damn it, who is that brat? How dare they go against our heavenly god sect? Investigate, we must investigate. A half-step sage from the heavenly god sect roared. Hoo-hoo! At this moment, a hurricane suddenly moved from the side and rushed towards the heavenly divinity sect's people. In the heavenly wind plains, there were some hurricanes that surrounded the mountain. However, there were still many hurricanes that stayed in various parts of the heavenly wind plains. At this moment, Lu Ming was controlling a hurricane from afar and rushing towards the heavenly divinity sect's people. Of course, there was a limit to this kind of long-distance control. If it was too far away, he wouldn't be able to control it. This time, dozens of heavenly divinity sect's people were caught off guard and were swept into the hurricane, including a half-step sage expert. A series of miserable shrieks rang out. Those below the half-step sage realm were instantly shredded into pieces by the hurricane. Only that half-step sage expert was still holding on. A saint weapon appeared on his body and frantically resisted the hurricane around him. No, let me out quickly! That half-step sage expert screamed in horror. He wanted to charge out with all his might, but with his cultivation, he was swept into the hurricane and couldn't get out. The terrifying hurricane constantly bombarded the saint weapon, causing it to tremble. It seemed like it wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Ah, let me out quickly! Brat, how dare you offend my heavenly divinity sect? You're courting death. That half-step sage continued to scream and threaten Lu Ming, asking Lu Ming to let him go. How pitiful! Go in peace! Lu Ming's indifferent voice rang out. Of course, Lu Ming had deliberately changed his voice so that others couldn't recognize that he was Lu Ming. Then, he controlled the hurricane and swept it towards the other heavenly divinity sect's people. Split up and escape! Split up and escape! The remaining heavenly divinity sect's experts roared. Then, the heavenly divinity sect's people split up and fled in all directions. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The speed of the hurricane was still too slow. It couldn't catch up with those experts. Just now, it had caught them off guard and swept them into the hurricane. At this moment, the half-step sage expert who was swept into the hurricane couldn't hold on any longer. Crack! Cracks appeared on his holy armament. Then, with a loud bang, it exploded. No, the half-step sage roared in horror. Then, he turned into ashes in the endless terrifying hurricane. Everyone was shocked. A half-step sage had been tricked and died just like that. Lu Ming's figure walked out of the hurricane. The air-frozen pearl shrouded him in green light. The heavenly divinity sect's people stared at Lu Ming. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would be riddled with holes. Brat, who are you? How dare you kill an expert of my heavenly divinity sect? From afar, Yuxing glared at Lu Ming and roared. Those who are unjust are doomed to destruction. I just don't like your heavenly divinity sect. Lu Ming said indifferently. You're courting your own death. Yuxing roared. Oh, then come and kill me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Yuxing's face turned ugly. What a joke. Asking him to kill Lu Ming now. Wasn't he courting death? Kill! A half-step sage of the heavenly divinity sect slashed out a beam of saint light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. His figure flashed and entered the hurricane. The beam of saint light slashed the hurricane and was immediately destroyed by the hurricane's power. Then, Lu Ming controlled the hurricane and continued to stare at the half-step sage. The half-step sage's face changed greatly, and he hurriedly turned and fled. Whoosh, the hurricane swept out. At this moment, it suddenly changed direction and rushed toward the people of the heavenly divinity sect. What are you doing? Mo Yang roared and hurriedly fled. The other people of the heavenly divinity sect also hurriedly fled. Lu Ming controlled the hurricane and chased after them. The people of the heavenly divinity sect and the heavenly divinity sect were in a mess. Lu Ming took special care of Mo Yang. He stared at him and chased after him, leaving Mo Yang in a sorry state. Mo Yang was furious. He was one of the top 10 monstrous geniuses of the Tsang prefecture, but he was being chased up and down in public. He had lost all face. Lu Ming chased after him. Suddenly, he changed direction and rushed toward the people of the Desire Poison sect. Chapter 1582. Around them, the people from the other small forces were all a little stunned. Lu Ming was actually chasing after the three top sects at the same time, which was very confusing. However, the people from the three sects were indeed in a very sorry state. Kid, when the Celestial God sect Saint Realm powerhouses arrive, you'll be dead. Saint Yu roared. Yes, there are also Saint Realm powerhouses from the Desire Poison sect. They will arrive soon. Even if you hide in the tornado, you'll still die. Someone from the Desire Poison sect also roared. They were really angry. Lu Ming was simply cheating by hiding in the tornado. He could only chase after them, but they could only escape. They couldn't fight back, as fighting back was tantamount to courting death. Needless to say, they were very aggrieved. Lu Ming ignored them and focused on controlling the tornado to chase after them. However, the people from the three sects had learned their lesson and stayed away from all the tornadoes. This way, even if Lu Ming could control the other tornadoes, he wouldn't be able to kill the people from the three sections. In the end, Lu Ming stared at Mo Yang and chased him around the area for more than a dozen laps. His face was flushed with anger and frustration. After chasing for a while, when they were far away, Lu Ming silently came out of the tornado. He then changed his figure and aura and came to a place not far from Tian Chui and the others. The tornadoes stopped, but the people from the three sects were still cautious and vigilant, staying away from any tornado. After a while, the tornadoes didn't move at all. Only then did the people from the three sects let out a long sigh of relief. However, the people from the three sects all had terrifying flames in their eyes. They knew that they had been tricked by Lu Ming. If this matter were to spread, the three sects would lose face. Mo Yang, in particular, was even more furious. Just like that, while the people from the three sects were on high alert, time quickly passed. An hour later, whoosh! In the sky, a white holy light flashed, and an old man in a white robe appeared in the air. Elder, the Saint Realm Elder of the Celestial God sect has arrived. The people from the Celestial God sect were overjoyed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then, the sound of the air being torn apart continuously rang out. At least 7 or 8 figures appeared in the sky, each of them exuding a vast pressure. That was the might of a saint. All of the people who came were of the saint plane. Some wore green robes, while others wore white robes. They were the Saint Realm experts of the Desire Poison sect and the Celestial God sect. Each sect had sent 3 saints. There were also 2 Saint Realm experts who were not from the 2 major sections. They should be experts from small forces nearby. Some small sects and forces also had Saint Realm experts in charge. Some sects were not weak at all. They were only slightly weaker than the 13 top sections. The 8 Saint Realm powerhouses stood in the void and looked at the mountain in front of them. To be more precise, they were looking at the Phantom of the Phoenix. What a powerful aura! This is at least a holy weapon, or even higher. A Sage Realm expert from the Celestial Divinity sect spoke, his eyes burning with passion. The other Saint Realm experts were the same. Their eyes were burning with passion. Boom! Suddenly, a saint from the Celestial God sect moved. He took a step forward, and the entire world shook. A milky white saint light shot up to the sky from his body. Finally, boundless saint light condensed into a battle blade. The saber was at least tens of thousands of meters long. It crossed the void and slashed at the tornadoes ahead. Boom! The saint light battle blade slashed at the tornadoes, and an ear-piercing sound was heard. The terrifying winds were like endless blades. They kept slashing at the Saint Light battle blade, and the space around it kept shaking. Break for me! The Saint Realm expert from the Celestial God sect roared. His aura was even more terrifying. The Saint Light battle blade shone brightly as it tried to cut the tornadoes apart. The huge Saint Light battle blade actually cut into the tornadoes. Many people held their breaths and widened their eyes as they looked ahead. Could a Saint Realm expert break through the tornadoes? However, the Saint Light battle blade was only halfway through when it was slashed by the endless wind blades and exploded. The Saint Realm expert from the Celestial God sect had failed. In the distance, Lu Ming's expression was still very serious. The strength of a Saint Realm expert is really terrifying. Lu Ming thought to himself. He knew how powerful the tornadoes were. If a half-saint entered, only death would await them. They wouldn't even be able to resist. However, the Saint Realm expert just now had been able to break through half of the tornadoes. He had almost completely split the tornadoes in half. His strength was truly terrifying. In the face of such an expert, Lu Ming wouldn't be safe even if he hid in the tornadoes with the air-frozen pearl. The tornadoes here are too strong. One person can't break through. How about we work together? A Saint Realm expert from the Desire Poison sect said. Work together? Then how will the treasures be divided after we enter? A Saint Realm expert from the Celestial God sect asked. After we enter, of course, it will be based on our own abilities. Whoever obtains it will get it. A Saint Realm expert from the Desire Poison sect said. Okay, we agree. The 3 Saint Realm experts from the Celestial God sect nodded in unison. Then, the Saint Realm experts from the other 2 small sects also nodded in agreement. Boom! 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 8 Saint Realm experts erupted with a terrifying aura at the same time. Vast and boundless Saint aura filled the air. At the same time, a Saint weapon shot out from each of their bodies, emitting a dazzling light. In the hands of a Saint Realm expert, the power of a Saint weapon was completely different from that of a person below the Saint Realm. It was extremely terrifying. Then, the 8 of them attacked at the same time. 8 Saint weapons bombarded the tornadoes at the same time. Boom! The tornadoes shook violently. Although the tornadoes were powerful, they couldn't stop the combined attacks of the 8 Saint Realm experts. After a loud boom, the tornadoes exploded into endless gales that scattered between heaven and earth. Many people's eyes lit up when they saw that the tornadoes had been destroyed. Continue. A Saint Realm expert from the Celestial God sect said. Then, the 8 Saint Realm experts continued to attack. Terrifying attacks continuously bombarded the tornadoes. Under the attacks of the 8 Saint Realm experts, the tornadoes collapsed and turned into wind energy that dissipated between heaven and earth. Soon, at least a dozen tornadoes were blasted apart. A huge gap appeared in the tornadoes surrounding the mountain. Everyone could clearly see the situation inside the mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, there was a huge cave. Resplendent light shone from within the cave. Surprisingly, the other tornadoes around the mountain didn't move. They didn't fill the gap. Whoosh! Suddenly, a Saint Realm elder from the Celestial God sect turned into a beam of light and charged toward the mountain. He instantly charged through the area covered by the tornadoes. Don't even think about it. The Desire Poison sect expert roared and charged forward. In the blink of an eye, the 8 Saint Realm experts charged into the area covered by the tornadoes and into the cave. Let's go in and take a look. Chapter 1583. One by one, the figures charged into the cave and disappeared. Senior brother, senior sister, shall we go in as well? Lu Ming came to Tian Chui and Xue Ningxin's side and returned to his original appearance. Alright, let's go in and have a look. Tian Chui said. Lu Ming, I won't go in. Eden shook his head. Eden knew that with his cultivation, he would not be of any use if he went in. If he encountered danger, he would be a burden to Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming nodded and did not say anything. He rushed into the cave with Tian Chui and Xue Ningxin. The cave was huge. After rushing in, there was a slanted passage leading downwards. At this time, another phoenix cry was heard. It came from the bottom of the cave, but it was low, weak, and full of despair. Boom! 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 Then, there was a terrible roar from below. Is there a big battle down there? Lu Ming and the other two's expressions changed. They became even more cautious. They restrained their auras completely and took out their sacred weapons at any time. At the same time, Lu Ming was prepared to bring Tian Chui and Xuaningxin into the mountain river painting. The passage was not long. Soon, the three of them reached the end. At the end of the passage was a huge and spacious underground cave. It seemed to be man-made. As soon as Lu Ming and the other two entered the underground cave, they were stunned. They looked ahead in horror. In front of the underground cave, there was a huge wall. On the wall, there was a phoenix nailed. Yes, a divine phoenix was nailed to the wall. Its wings and legs were pierced through and nailed to the wall. Its neck was also chained to the wall. Blood continued to flow from his wings, from his feet and along the wall. At that moment, the phoenix was already extremely weak. Its aura was like gossamer. Chirp, it let out a mournful cry that was full of despair. Lu Ming was shocked. It seemed that the cry of the phoenix that was heard in the Tianfeng plains was from this phoenix. It was full of despair and unwillingness. A divine bird, a phoenix, was nailed to the wall by someone. It could only watch as its blood flowed out and died. How unreconciled was this? Who was it that did this? Boom! Boom! The violent roar interrupted Lu Ming's train of thought. It also made Lu Ming shift his gaze away from the phoenix and look down. Below the wall, there was an ancient altar. The blood of the phoenix flowed along the wall and flowed onto the altar, seeping into it. A mirror floated above the altar. This mirror was engraved with the image of a phoenix. Furthermore, the image of a phoenix was fluttering around the surface of the mirror. The resplendent light was emitted by this mirror. Chirp, the cry of a phoenix resounded. It was intense, high-pitched, and filled with the domineering aura of the king of birds. Lu Ming finally realized that the phoenix phantom that had appeared on the mountain and the high-pitched cry had come from this mirror. There were indeed two different phoenix cries. One belonged to the phoenix, and the other belonged to the mirror. This mirror was enveloped by a halo that exuded a terrifying pressure. The 8 saints were attacking the halo on the mirror. This pressure seems to be the pressure of an emperor. Lu Ming was shocked when he felt the pressure from the mirror. He had felt the pressure of Emperor Tsang and the soul destroyer Shakyamuni before. It was extremely similar to this ancient mirror. An emperor weapon. A word flashed across Lu Ming's mind. There was really an emperor weapon here. This is a formation. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. With his eye of discernment, he could easily tell that the altar and the ground beside it were covered in runes, forming a huge formation. This is a sealing formation. The emperor weapon is the core. Also, the phoenix that was nailed to the wall is the key to breaking the formation. The blood that flowed out can break the formation. At this moment, many thoughts flashed across Lu Ming's mind. Someone had injured the phoenix and nailed it to the wall. The phoenix's resentful blood was used to break the formation here. Now, they had barged into this place. The 8 saints were obviously attracted by the emperor weapon. They were attacking the halo with all their might, trying to seize the emperor weapon. In this way, they would be helping to break the formation. If Lu Ming could see and think of all these, the 8 Sage Realm powerhouses would definitely be able to think of all these as well. However, the 8 Sage Realm powerhouses no longer cared about anything else. They only had eyes for the emperor weapon. As long as they could get the emperor weapon, it did not matter what formation they broke. The 8 Sage Realm powerhouses continued to bombard the light screen, causing the underground cavern to shake continuously. The others watched from afar. They could not interfere at all. Crack! After a while, the halo could not take it anymore. It let out a cracking sound. A crack appeared on the halo. Then, the number of cracks increased. Finally, the halo exploded with a bang. When the halo shattered, the cry of a phoenix reverberated through the cavern. The emperor weapon is mine. A saint of the celestial divinity sect shouted. Dream on. Let's see if you have the ability to get the emperor weapon. The saint of the desire poison sect roared. His body was covered in poisonous gas that surged toward the saint of the celestial divinity sect. At the same time, he formed a huge hand and grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. Scram! Those who block me will die. Kill! It was a mess. It was a complete mess. When the halo shattered, the 8 saints were in a complete mess. The 8 of them rushed toward the ancient phoenix mirror. At the same time, they fought fiercely. The value of an emperor weapon was too high. It was unimaginable. Dong! A huge hand formed from poisonous gas grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. However, the ancient phoenix mirror trembled and a phoenix cried. A beam of light shot out from the ancient phoenix mirror and destroyed the huge hand. But then, a huge hand completely condensed from holy light grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. Chirp, the ancient phoenix mirror cried out. Then, a phoenix shadow rushed out and destroyed the huge hand. Then, the ancient phoenix mirror trembled and flew toward the top. A huge cauldron, a saint weapon, came down to suppress the ancient phoenix mirror. However, the ancient phoenix mirror flashed and dodged the cauldron's suppression. The huge cauldron did not suppress the ancient phoenix mirror. Its terrifying power slammed into the altar below, causing it to explode. Boom! On the other side, the ancient phoenix mirror crashed into the wall above. Rubble flew everywhere. The ancient phoenix mirror pierced through the mountain and created a tunnel. The ancient phoenix mirror flew out along the tunnel. Where are you going? Chase! The 8 saints soared into the sky and chased after the ancient phoenix mirror. In the blink of an eye, there was not a single saint left in the underground cavern. At this time, everyone looked at the phoenix that was nailed to the wall. Chapter 1584. They were not qualified to fight for the imperial weapon, but now that the saint had left, they could not miss out on the phoenix. Whoosh! Whoosh! One by one, they rushed toward the phoenix on the wall. Get lost! You're courting death. Kill! Roars rang out one after another, and all kinds of dazzling lights exploded, filled with terrifying murderous intent. Suddenly, dozens of experts exploded in the air, and blood splattered everywhere. Among them, Mo Yang was the most terrifying. When he attacked, the sky was filled with black demonic flames. Those who came into contact with them were immediately burned to ashes. There were also a few half-saints from the Desire Poison sect and the Celestial God sect. They were also extremely terrifying. With a wave of their hands, they killed one expert after another. They were the fastest, and they rushed toward the phoenix. No one noticed that the blood of the people who had been killed quickly seeped into the ground and disappeared after spilling onto the ground. At this time, Lu Ming also rushed out. However, Lu Ming did not rush toward the phoenix, but toward the side of the altar. There was a stone plate there. It was the size of a plate, and there was a Tai Chi pattern carved on it. Just now, when the altar was shattered, this stone plate flew out from the altar. Everyone thought that the large array on the altar only had one core, and that was the ancient phoenix mirror. However, Lu Ming could see that the large array on the altar actually had 2 cores. One of them was the phoenix ancient mirror. As for the other core, it was the stone plate. To be able to serve as the core of this large array together with the ancient phoenix mirror, it was definitely not simple. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the stone plate, but the stone plate did not budge. It's so heavy. Lu Ming was shocked. He tried to grab it, but he could not lift it. This stone plate was heavier than a mountain. Let's put it away with the mountain and river diagram first. Lu Ming's eyebrows lit up, and a beam of light shot out, enveloping the stone plate. The stone plate was successfully put into the mountain and river diagram. At this time, Lu Ming suddenly felt a terrible crisis in his heart. This sense of crisis made Lu Ming feel as if he had fallen into an abyss. Oh no, it's dangerous. Without a second thought, Lu Ming took a step back and retreated. At the same time, Mo Yang, who was pouncing towards the phoenix, had a drastic change in his expression. He suddenly turned around and retreated frantically. However, all peerless geniuses had extremely sharp spiritual senses. They could often sense the danger that was about to befall them. Thus, they could overcome all kinds of difficulties and reach the peak. Lu Ming was such a person, and there was no doubt that Imo Yang was the same. Just as the two of them retreated, wisps of black smoke came out of the altar and wrapped around the group of cultivators. "Ah, what the hell is this?" someone shouted in horror. A horrifying scene occurred. All those who were entangled by the black smoke had their bodies rapidly shriveled up, turning into dried corpses. It was like being devoured by Lu Ming's devouring power. "Ah, get lost!" the others cried out in fear. They wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Everyone who was surrounded by the black smoke turned into dried corpses. Break! Only a few half-saints could fight back. They took out their sacred weapons and attacked with all their might, scattering the wisps of black smoke. However, after the black smoke was scattered, it gathered again, and all of it rushed towards one person. That person was a half-saint from the Celestial God sect, who had participated in the killing of Lu Ming. All of the black smoke gathered, and its power increased greatly. Even the half-saint's sacred weapon was useless as he was entangled by the black smoke. The black smoke was like small snakes that burrowed into the half-saint's body. The half-saint screamed in despair. Then, like the others, he turned into a dried corpse. "Run!" The few half-saints who had escaped were terrified. They roared and retreated quickly. The others were also terrified and retreated towards the passage behind them. Lu Ming, Tian Shui, and Xuaningxin blended in with the crowd and retreated towards the passage. However, when they approached the tunnel, the walls on both sides of the tunnel suddenly exploded. Several figures appeared in a flash and surrounded the entrance of the tunnel. These people were all wrapped in black robes, revealing only a pair of cold eyes. "Kill!" As soon as these people appeared, they charged towards Lu Ming and the others without saying a word. The crowd was shocked. They had not expected that there would be people hiding on the walls on both sides. It was not difficult for a martial royal realm cultivator to make a big hole in the wall and then smooth it out or even restore it to its original state. As long as he mastered the earth domain or the mountain domain, it would not be too difficult. However, the crowd was distracted by the sacred weapon and the phoenix. They were caught off guard and a large number of experts were killed in an instant. Whoosh! Whoosh! Sword radiance flashed and blood splattered everywhere. The figures fell one by one. "Half-saints, half-saints!" someone shouted in horror. There were at least 7 or 8 half-saints among the black-robed men. Sword radiance flashed and no one could block it. The most shocking thing was that there were a few black-robed men standing at the side. They did not attack, but the aura they emitted was extremely shocking. That was the sacred aura. Those black-robed men were all sacred realm experts. "Who are you? How dare you kill the people of the Celestial God sect?" A half-saint from the Celestial God sect shouted angrily. However, what greeted him was a terrifying sword radiance. Whoosh! 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 Those sacred realm black-robed men did not attack them. Instead, they walked past them and appeared in front of the broken altar. They bowed and said in unison, "Welcome back to the world, Guardian King. Flesh and blood, I want flesh and blood." Beneath the altar, a shriveled and unpleasant voice rang out, causing one's hair to stand on end upon hearing it. "Guardian King." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. These people were from the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming's mind raced. He finally knew what had happened here. There was actually a Guardian King of the evil spirit sect sealed here. Previously, the array with the Tai Chi array disc and the Phoenix Ancient Mirror as the core was to seal the Guardian King of the evil spirit sect. However, the evil spirit sect wanted to save the Guardian King of the evil spirit sect. Therefore, they entered the heavenly wind plains and severely injured the Phoenix. Then, they nailed the Phoenix to the wall and used its resentful blood to break the array. Therefore, over the past half a month, the cries of the Phoenix could be heard from time to time. They were filled with unwillingness and despair, which attracted so many experts. By the time the 8 sages had entered, the power of the array was already very weak. In order to fight for the Phoenix Ancient Mirror, the 8 sages had forcefully broken the array here and destroyed the altar, allowing the Phoenix Ancient Mirror to escape. This was equivalent to helping the Evil Spirit sect greatly. Now, the Guardian King of the Evil Spirit sect was about to come out of seclusion. Guardian King, we'll help you break the last array formation first. A black-robed sage shouted. Then, several black-robed sages joined forces and bombarded the ground below the altar. There was another array formation there. However, that array formation was not very strong. Under the bombardment of several sages, it was on the verge of collapse. Senior brother, senior sister, let's go through the passage above. Lu Ming shouted. The 3 of them rushed toward the passage above them that had been pierced by the Phoenix Ancient Mirror. Chapter 1585. The 3 of them controlled their sacred weapons and sent the black-robed men flying into the sky. The others had the same idea as Lu Ming and the others and rushed toward the passage above them. At least 100 people rushed toward the passage above them. Some of them rushed toward the passage that they had entered earlier. Kill! The black-robed men killed with all their might and left a large number of corpses in the underground cave. However, there were many of them who had entered this time. Although a large number of them had been killed, there were still a few hundred of them rushing toward the 2 passages. Boom! At this moment, the underground cave shook violently. The formation was broken. Rubble flew everywhere, and a dark cave appeared below. An old man who looked like a skeleton floated out of the cave. Flesh and blood, flesh and blood. The skeleton-like old man's hoarse voice rang out. Then, he rushed toward the corpses that had been killed. Wisps of black smoke emanated from the old man and enveloped the corpses. Instantly, the corpses quickly shriveled. Even the blood on the ground was absorbed by the black smoke. The skeleton-like old man's body became fuller and more lustrous. Spirit-devouring Dharma King, have finally come out. The old man laughed. His eyes were filled with shocking blood-red light. Welcome back to the world, Dharma King. Several black-robed saints bowed. You've done well. Spirit-devouring Dharma King nodded. Then, he looked at the passage above and said, I need more flesh and blood. Kill! With that, Shakyamuni-devouring spirit soared into the sky and chased after Yifutian. The other saints also rushed out. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others had already rushed out of the passage. As soon as they rushed out of the passage, they realized that the tornadoes that had been surrounding them had all disappeared. Even the tornadoes on the Tianfeng plains had all disappeared. The Tianfeng plains had become an ordinary plain. Boom! Boom! In the sky, there were continuous explosions. Poison gas and sacred light filled the sky. At the same time, there was the cry of a phoenix. 8 saints were fighting in the sky to fight for the Phoenix Ancient Mirror. No, there were more than 8 of them. Lu Ming lifted his head to take a look. He discovered that there were more than 10 figures fighting in the sky. The entire sky was about to explode. More than a dozen people, all of them saints. Clearly, more saints had come to participate in the fight for the Phoenix Ancient Mirror while they were inside. The Phoenix Ancient Mirror was surrounded by many saints. More than a dozen saints fought against each other, but no one could get the Phoenix Ancient Mirror. Bam! Swish! In the sky, a figure was sent flying and vomiting blood. A saint from the Celestial Divinity sect was injured. There were strong and weak saints as well. Clearly, this person was on the weaker side of the saint realm. Once Lu Ming and the rest dashed out of the passageway, they did not stop at all. They dashed out of the Tianfeng plains. Behind them, the evil spirit sect members gave chase. Some people from the Heavenly Divinity sect and the Poison Desire sect cried out for help from the Saint Realm experts. The injured Saint Realm expert took a step forward and appeared above the crowd. He asked, "What's going on? How dare you?" A cold murderous intent flashed across the celestial divine sect sage's eyes. He had been the first to be injured in the fight for the Phoenix Ancient Mirror. He had been suppressing his anger and had nowhere to vent it. Now, he turned his target to the evil spirit sect. Kill! The heavenly divine sect saint took a step forward. Holy light filled the sky, forming terrifying sword chi that charged toward the evil spirit sect. Instantly, more than a dozen evil spirit sect experts were killed, including 2 half-saints. Saints could condense saint power. Once saint power was released, true essence could not withstand it at all and was instantly pierced through. Retreat! The other evil spirit sect members retreated. However, Lu Ming, Tian Shui, and Xuaningxin did not stop at all. They continued to charge out. There was a Dharmaraja sealed here. The Dharmarajas of the evil spirit sect were all emperor-level experts. Even if they had been sealed for many years, they were still absolutely terrifying. It was best to leave now. The heavenly divine sect saint naturally did not know all of this. Holy light burst out from his body, and he stepped toward the evil spirit sect members with a domineering spirit. How dare you kill my heavenly divine sect members? Leave no one alive. The heavenly divine sect saint said coldly. Is that so? Let's see how you kill them. He he he. At this moment, a cold laugh rang out. The spirit-devouring Dharmaraja flew out of the passage in the mountain, his body covered in black smoke as he flew toward them. The heavenly divine sect saint looked at the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja and frowned slightly. He realized that he could not see through the other party. He did not know the other party's cultivation level, but he could feel that the other party seemed to be very weak. Humph, an old fellow whose blood is about to dry up also came to die. Kill! The heavenly divine sect saint shouted coldly as a divine punishment spear condensed in his hand. Swoosh! The divine punishment spear pierced out, and a terrifying whistling sound rang out in the sky. Even the space rippled. The god's punishment spear used by a Saint Realm expert was too terrifying. It was completely condensed by the Saint Realm's power and contained the power of laws. Lu Ming felt that even if he blocked it with a sacred weapon, he would be penetrated. Bam! The divine punishment spear accurately hit the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja, and the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja exploded. Humph, you can't even withstand a single blow. The heavenly divine sect saint sneered disdainfully. Is that so? He he he. With a cold laugh, the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja turned into wisps of black smoke and entangled the heavenly divine sect saint. How is this possible? Under my power of laws, even a natural spiritual body would be severely injured. The heavenly divine sect saint roared in disbelief. Some natural spiritual bodies, such as flame and lightning spiritual bodies, had strong vitality. When their bodies collapsed, it would greatly reduce the damage. However, the power of laws was extremely harmful to these spiritual bodies. The heavenly divine sect saint's spear could definitely injure the other party, but it seemed that the other party was completely fine. In the next moment, his expression changed drastically because he felt the blood in his body boiling, as if it was about to be devoured by the black smoke that surrounded him. Explode! The heavenly divine sect saint roared, and his saint power burst out, trying to destroy the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja's black smoke. But it was useless. The black smoke dissipated and condensed into small snakes again, drilling into the heavenly divine sect saint's body. This is the spirit-devouring technique. Who are you? The heavenly divine sect saint screamed in horror. Hee, at least you have some knowledge to know about the spirit-devouring technique. I am the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja. A cold laugh came from the black smoke. Spirit-devouring Dharmaraja. You are the spirit-devouring Dharmaraja of the evil spirit sect. Chapter 1586. The Dharma kings of the evil spirit sect were all emperor-level experts. There was actually a Dharma king of the evil spirit sect here? Pooh! At this moment, spirit-devouring Master King reformed his body. His palm was like a knife, piercing through the air. The heavenly god sect saint was so shocked that he forgot to retreat. His heart was pierced by spirit-devouring Shakyamuni's palm. The terrifying spirit-devouring power was madly devouring the heavenly god sect saint's blood. No, the heavenly god sect saint struggled madly, but it was useless. The spirit-devouring king's terrifying power surged into his body and exploded. His saint heart was directly shattered. The heavenly god sect saint was dead. A saint was killed just like that. This was even after Shakyamuni's spirit-devouring king had been sealed for many years and his strength had been greatly reduced. Otherwise, an emperor-level expert would have been able to kill a celestial god sect saint with a flick of his finger. Let's go, let's go. The other party is an evil spirit sect law king, the arch-expert. At the scene, everyone panicked. Chaos ensued as they frantically fled out of the Tianfeng plains. As for spirit-devouring Dharma King, he had absorbed the blood of a saint, and his aura had become much stronger. Kakik, the blood of a saint is indeed wonderful. There's still a lot here. Spirit-devouring Dharma King looked up at the sky. There were more than a dozen saints there. Whoosh! Spirit-devouring Dharma King soared into the air. The pupils of the dozen saints constricted. Just now, the celestial divinity sect saint had been killed. Moreover, they had also heard the roar of the celestial divinity sect saint. Now that the spirit-devouring guardian king had walked over, they were extremely shocked. Everyone, he's a martial monarch. Even though he's been sealed for many years, he's still terrifying. We'd better work together. A saint from the Desire Poison sect spoke first. Alright, I agree. I agree too. In the face of spirit-devouring Shakyamuni, they could only join forces. Otherwise, they would die. Chirp, at this moment, the Phoenix Ancient Mirror let out a violent cry. It emitted a brilliant light as if it had turned into a phoenix and rushed out of the encirclement. You want to leave after sealing me for so many years? Spirit-devouring Shakyamuni said coldly. With a wave of his palm, a giant palm condensed and grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. The phoenix spread its wings and flapped out a dazzling ray of light. It pierced through the spirit-devouring guardian king's giant hand and then rushed into the distance. Spirit-devouring Dharma King frowned, but he didn't pursue. The other saints were afraid of spirit-devouring Dharma King, so they didn't dare to pursue. In the blink of an eye, the Phoenix Ancient Mirror disappeared from everyone's sight. On the Tianfeng Plains, a young man was madly running out of the Tianfeng Plains. This person was Eden. He didn't enter the mountain, but stayed outside. When he saw the Phoenix Ancient Mirror flying out and a dozen saints participating in the battle, he knew that it was meaningless for him to stay. Moreover, it was extremely dangerous. If he was hit by the shockwaves of the battle, he would die. Therefore, he decided to leave the heavenly wind plains and observe in secret. While he was running, the cry of a phoenix rang out. Then, a beam of rainbow light shot into his body and disappeared into it. Eden's expression changed greatly. He carefully sensed his surroundings and was overjoyed. Imperial armament, Phoenix Ancient Mirror. Eden let out a low groan. Then, he used his movement technique and quickly flew out, disappearing in the blink of an eye. On the other side, spirit-devouring Dharma King looked at the dozen saints with fiery eyes. It seemed that in his eyes, saints were more attractive than imperial armaments. Kill! Suddenly, spirit-devouring Dharma King moved and attacked one of them. Attack! The dozen saints also attacked at the same time. Terrifying attacks gathered and blasted toward spirit-devouring Dharma King. However, spirit-devouring Dharma King's body was as light as a feather. He dodged the attacks and continued to attack one of them. Help the Dharma King! At this moment, a few black-robed men stepped into the sky and joined the battle. They were the saints of the evil spirit sect. They helped spirit-devouring Dharma King restrain his opponents, allowing him to be even more at home. Swoosh! Swoosh! Spirit-devouring Dharma King's body kept flashing. He slapped out with his palm, and wisps of black smoke spread out and surged toward the dozen saints. Spirit-devouring Dharma King had devoured the previous saint. It was obvious that he had become stronger. Those saints seemed to be very afraid of spirit-devouring Dharma King's black smoke. They did not dare to come into contact with the black smoke, and all kinds of attacks were launched to disperse the black smoke. There were also some attacks that blasted towards spirit-devouring Dharma King, but it seemed to be useless against him. His body collapsed and turned into wisps of black smoke. Die! Spirit-devouring Dharma King stared at one of the saints and kept attacking him. That saint was a saint from a small sect and was relatively weak. That saint's face was very ugly, and he kept retreating. Lingyan steps. Spirit-devouring Dharma King spat out an ear-piercing voice. His body swayed and suddenly disappeared without a trace. Oh no! That saint was shocked. He unleashed his saint power and controlled the laws to blast in all directions. But, splat! Spirit-devouring Dharma King had appeared in front of him. His palm pierced through the saint's heart. The terrifying power directly destroyed the saint's saint heart. Then he began to frantically absorb the saint's blood. Stop him! Don't let him continue to absorb blood. A saint from the Desire Poison sect roared and attacked Spirit-devouring Dharma King. The other saints also attacked Spirit-devouring Dharma King. Spirit-devouring Dharma King had been sealed for many years. His chi and blood were weak, so his strength was also very weak. But if he absorbed blood, his strength would probably skyrocket. Terrifying attacks landed on Spirit-devouring Dharma King's body. Spirit-devouring Dharma King's body exploded, turning into wisps of black smoke and entering the body of the saint he had killed. Ha ha ha, you can't stop me. An evil voice came from the saint's body. His body shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. Destroy his body! Someone roared. Terrifying attacks landed on the saint's body and immediately cracked his body. However, only a small amount of blood spilled out and was swept up by a cloud of black smoke. Ha ha ha! Spirit-devouring Dharma King's laughter continued. He transformed back into a human, but his body was fuller and his aura was stronger. Spirit-devouring palm, kill! Spirit-devouring Dharma King roared. This time, he directly attacked. He had absorbed the blood of 2 saints in a row. His strength had greatly increased and he could use some terrifying techniques. A terrifying palm print formed and blasted toward one of the saints. Bam! That saint exploded and blasted the palm print. But the result was that the saint's body shook violently and he spat out blood and retreated. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Spirit-devouring Dharma King blasted out more than a dozen palms. More than a dozen terrifying palm prints formed, blotting out the sky as they blasted toward the saints. More than a dozen saints roared and attacked to block, but in the end, they were all forced to retreat while spitting out blood. Chapter 1587. At the same time, the other saints of the evil spirit sect also joined forces to attack one of them. Bam! That person had just blocked the Spirit-devouring King's attack and was then faced with the joint attacks of the other saints. He couldn't resist at all. With a scream, his body was torn apart and he died on the spot. The Spirit-devouring King's claw turned into a cloud of black smoke and absorbed all the blood. Oh no! The other saints' expressions changed drastically. The Spirit-devouring King's strength was already shocking enough. Now that it had absorbed the blood of another saint, its strength would definitely be even more terrifying. Let's go! The dozen or so saints actually didn't dare to continue fighting and turned to run. They were originally from different sects and weren't united. At this critical moment, they all wanted to escape and let the others block them. He, you want to escape? All of you will die. The Spirit-devouring King sneered and chased after the other saints with a few evil spirit sect saints. The saints have been defeated. Run! There were still some people watching below. They originally thought that the dozen or so saints would be able to suppress the other party if they joined forces. They didn't expect to see this scene and were immediately scared out of their wits. At this time, Lu Ming, Tian Chui, and Xuanningshin were almost out of the heavenly wind plains. They didn't stop. The spirit-devouring king was a the arch. Although there were more than a dozen saints, Lu Ming still felt that a dozen saints might not be of much use. Oh no, those saints have been defeated. Tian Chui roared. Between heaven and earth, a mighty saint aura spread out. The dozen or so saints scattered and fled in all directions. Let's go. The spirit-devouring king's current target is the saints. Our cultivation levels are too weak. He won't target us now. Lu Ming said. The three of them continued to fly at top speed. In the blink of an eye, they had flown out of the heavenly wind plains. Swoosh! At this moment, in the distant sky, a terrifying sharp light pierced into the heavenly wind plains. It was a spear, the spear of divine punishment. Another expert from the heavenly gods sect had come. This spear of divine punishment was incomparably terrifying. It streaked across the void as if it had pierced through the void. Saint! Spirit-devouring Dharma King said coldly. He struck out with his palm and collided with the spear of divine punishment. An earth-shattering boom rang out as Spirit-devouring King's body was pushed back dozens of miles. In the distant void, a figure stepped on the air and approached. This was a middle-aged man with a tall and slender figure. One could tell that he was very handsome when he was young. His expression was very calm, but unknowingly, he exuded a supreme majesty. Sect Master, it's the Sect Master. Some of the heavenly god sect's disciples cried out when they saw this middle-aged man. Lu Ming and the other two were also shocked. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity sect actually came personally. I didn't expect an evil spirit sect king to be sealed here. However, it looks like he should be very weak. A cold voice rang out. The one who spoke wasn't the Sect Master of the Heavenly Gods sect, but from the other side. On the other side, a green-robed old man suddenly appeared. He was the one who had spoken earlier. Sect Master. The disciples of the Desire Poison sect cried out in alarm. The Sect Master of the Desire Poison sect had also arrived. Kakik, 2 absolute saints actually came. As long as I kill you, I should be able to recover 20% of my cultivation. Spirit-devouring King laughed loudly. Spirit-devouring King, you still want to kill us in your current state? What a joke. Retreat now. Leave that song's state, and I won't pursue today's matter. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Gods sect said calmly. A mere absolute saint. How arrogant. What if I don't retreat? Spirit-devouring King said coldly. If you don't retreat, I can only make you stay here and completely destroy you. The Sect Master of the Heavenly God sect said. He then looked at the Sect Master of the Desire Poison sect and said, Brother Wu, why don't we join forces? That's what I was thinking. The Sect Master of the Desire Poison sect said. Ha ha ha, then let me see what you juniors are capable of. Kill! Spirit-devouring King charged toward the Sect Master of the Heavenly Gods sect. Boom! Boom! At the same time, the Sect Masters of the Heavenly Gods sect and the Desire Poison sect unleashed their terrifying auras and charged toward Spirit-devouring King. Instantly, the entire area was covered in white saint light, green poisonous gas, and black smoke. Terrifying rumbles could be heard continuously. Spirit-devouring King is blocked. Let's go. Lu Ming didn't hesitate and took out the breaking sky shuttle. The three of them stepped into the shuttle and flew away. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the area. The breaking sky shuttle was extremely fast, but it still took a few minutes for the tremors in the heavenly wind plains to disappear completely. Damn, a great emperor has appeared. That was close. Tian Chui said with lingering fear. An emperor-level figure was too terrifying. After so many years, that Song state only had one emperor Tsang. After that, there was no other emperor. I wonder if the Sect Masters of the Heavenly Gods sect and the Desire Poison sect can stop Spirit-devouring King. Xuanning thought. The evil spirit sect was destroyed 80,000 years ago. The spirit-devouring Dharma king was most likely sealed by another Dharch 80,000 years ago. After so many years, he has become extremely weak. However, he is still a Dharch. It's hard to say if there are two absolute saints. Lu Ming said. However, all of this had nothing to do with them. With their strength, it was useless for them to worry. They couldn't interfere at all. Ordinary saints would find it difficult to interfere with such an expert. They would be killed if they tried. I wonder how little Qing is doing. I haven't seen him before. Lu Ming was a little worried. He took out a voice transmission jade talisman and was about to send a voice transmission to Xian Yanqing. However, just as Lu Ming took out the voice transmission jade talisman, he received a voice transmission from Xian Yanqing, asking him how he was. He was full of worry. Since Xian Yanqing had sent him a voice transmission, it meant that Xian Yanqing was fine. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Then, Lu Ming replied to Xian Yanqing. Through the voice transmission jade talisman, Lu Ming knew that Xian Yanqing was now outside the heavenly wind plains. A saint from the heavenly universe demon sect had come, and she was with this saint. Lu Ming adjusted the direction and flew towards Xian Yanqing. Soon, he saw Xian Yanqing. The two chatted for a while and finally said goodbye. Lu Ming, Tian Chui, and the other two stepped on the flying shuttle again and went to Dragon God Valley. The heavenly wind plains was in the west of Tsang State, and Dragon God Valley was in the southeast of Tsang State. It was very far away. Even with the flying shuttle, it would take a long time. 7 days later, they landed in a big city and asked for news. As expected, the news about the heavenly wind plains had already spread throughout Tsang State. Lu Ming and the other two asked around and heard a lot of news. In the heavenly wind plains, the evil spirit sect's spirit-devouring king had returned to the world and killed several saints. In the end, he fought with the two sect masters of the heavenly god sect and the poison sect. That battle was earth-shattering. In the end, spirit-devouring Dharma king was too weak and wasn't a match for the two saints. He was severely injured and escaped with a few saints. As for the remaining evil spirit sect members, they were all killed by the other saints present. Even so, all the major sects in Tsang State were in a state of panic. There were rumors that the evil spirit sect was going to rise from the ashes again. The world was going to be plunged into misery and suffering again. Now, a Dharma king had broken out of the seal. Once he recovered in the future, how could Tsang State stop him without a Dharch? Many people could only hope that there would be Thearch-level figures in the territories outside Tsang State to deal with the evil spirit sect. After Lu Ming and the other two asked around, they continued to step on the flying shuttle and headed for Dragon God Valley. When they returned to the southeast of Tsang State, Lu Ming adjusted the flying shuttle and headed for the Lu family castle. Chapter 1588. Soon, the Lu family fortress came into view. The three of them got off the flying shuttle. After Lu Ming kept the flying shuttle, the three of them flew towards the Lu family fortress. It's young Master Lu. The people of the Lu family fortress recognized Lu Ming immediately and welcomed the three of them into the fortress. Junior Lu Ming actually took in a disciple here. I'd like to meet her. Tian Chui was very curious. Xuanixin was the same. They were still young, which was the golden age for cultivation. Usually, they would not take in disciples because it would distract them. They would only consider taking in disciples when they reached a certain age and passed the golden age of cultivation. Lu Ming was so young, and he had taken in a disciple. His disciple would definitely be extraordinary. Lu Ming's eyes were also filled with anticipation. Xiang Xiang's talent was definitely shocking. They had not seen each other for a year. How high was Xiang Xiang's cultivation? Young Master Lu. Lu Zhenghao greeted them from afar. Patriarch Lu, these two are my senior brothers and senior sisters. Lu Ming introduced Tian Chui and Xuanixin to Lu Zhenghao. Lu Zhenghao quickly bowed to Tian Chui and Xuanixin. After that, they went to the main hall of the Lu family fortress. Once they were seated, The maid served them tea. Patriarch Lu, where's Xiang Xiang? Lu Ming asked. Xiang Xiang is cultivating in seclusion. I've already asked Wan Jun to call her. Lu Zhenghao said. Lu Ming nodded and said, Patriarch Lu, Lu Ming has a favor to ask of you. Please speak, young master. As long as the Lu family fortress can do it, I will do it. Lu Zhenghao said. Patriarch Lu, you're exaggerating. It's not a big deal. I have some friends who would like to settle down in the Lu family fortress. Is that okay? Lu Ming said. Of course. How many are there? Lu Zhenghao asked. A few hundred people. Let's go out and take a look. After saying that, Lu Ming walked out of the hall. He arrived at the courtyard outside the hall and waved his hand. Feng Ling and the villagers of the Feng family village all appeared in the courtyard. As soon as Feng Ling and the others appeared, they looked around. Feng Ling, village chief, it's me. Lu Ming said with a smile. You are. Brother Lu. Feng Ling widened her eyes and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. Back then, Lu Ming had disguised himself. Now that he had regained his original appearance, Feng Ling, the village chief, and the others naturally couldn't recognize Lu Ming. It's me. Lu Ming smiled and said, Village chief, we are already in the southeast of Tsang province. How about you all stay here in the future? Brother Lu, I'll do as you say. The village chief said. Young Master Lu, don't worry. I'll ask someone to arrange a place for them to stay. I'll find a good place to settle them down. Lu Zhenghao said. Then, he called an elder of the Lu family to bring Feng Ling, the village chief, and the others to settle down. In this way, one of Lu Ming's worries was removed. Master. A clear and crisp voice could be heard. A figure flashed and a little girl of about 7 or 8 years old appeared in front of Lu Ming. She was Lu Xiangxiang. Xiang Xiang was followed by Lu Wanjun. Xiang Xiang, why aren't you greeting your master? You don't know the rules. Lu Wanjun reprimanded. Disciple greets master. Xiang Xiang obediently bowed to Lu Ming. There's no need for that. Come, let me introduce you. This is my senior brother, you should call him 7th martial uncle. This is my senior sister, you should call her 8th martial aunt. Lu Ming pointed at Tian Chui and Xuanixin as he introduced them. Xiang Xiang greets 7th martial uncle and 8th martial aunt. Xiang bowed to Tianchui and Xuanixin obediently. Good girl, this is a gift from 8th martial aunt. Xuanixin took out a green orb and gave it to Xiang Xiang. It was a martial emperor weapon as a gift. Here, 7th martial uncle has a gift for you too. Tian Chui grinned and took out an emperor spirit weapon and gave it to Xiang Xiang. Xiang Xiang, your cultivation has reached the 9th layer martial emperor realm. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes flickered with astonishment. I've just reached the 9th layer martial emperor realm a few days ago. Xiang Xiang nodded. Lu Ming's eyelids twitched as his heart skipped a beat. 1 year, in just 1 year, Xiang Xiang's cultivation had reached the 9th layer martial emperor realm. That speed was too shocking. Furthermore, she had not received any resources from the top sects at the Lu clan fort. Lu Ming was dumbfounded by her speed. It's not bad to reach the 9th layer martial emperor realm at your age. Xiang Xiang, how long have you been cultivating? Tian Chui asked. Xiang Xiang has been cultivating for a year. A year ago, master taught me how to cultivate. Xiang Xiang said. A year, that's not bad. Wait, what? A year? Tian Chui nodded and immediately reacted. He opened his mouth wider and wider as he stared at Xiang Xiang in disbelief. Xuanixin stared with her mouth agape. A year ago, before she had even started cultivating, she had reached the 9th layer martial emperor realm in just a year. Tian Chui and Xuanixin were dumbfounded by her speed. Even though they were in the Yuanle, where many geniuses were able to cultivate at a shocking speed, they had never heard of anyone reaching the 9th-layer martial emperor realm in just a year. Beside them, Lu Wanjun and Lu Zhenghao wore excited and relieved smiles. As a matter of fact, they had been shocked by Xiang Xiang's speed of cultivation at the beginning, but they were now filled with excitement. Xiang Xiang blinked her eyes and glanced curiously at the dumbfounded Tian Chui and Xuaningxin. She could not understand why her martial uncle and martial aunt were acting like this. After a while, Tian Chui and Xuaningxin finally collected their thoughts. "Junior brother, I'm so jealous of you, to be able to recruit such a great disciple. If I had a disciple like her, even if I don't cultivate, I would teach her well." Tian Chui's gaze toward Lu Ming was filled with jealousy. "As her martial uncle, you should teach her more in the future," Lu Ming said with a smile. The group chatted as night fell. Lu Zhenghao prepared a feast for them. That night, Lu Ming and the others stayed at the Lu clan fort. The next morning, Lu Ming bade farewell to Lu Zhenghao and Lu Wanjun. "Mother, Grandpa, take care." Xiang Xiang reluctantly bid farewell to Lu Zhenghao and Lu Wanjun. "Xiang Xiang, you must listen to your master and cultivate well in the Dragon God Valley. Do you understand?" Lu Wanjun's eyes were filled with reluctance as tears began to roll down her cheeks. "Mother, don't cry. Xiang Xiang will find time to visit you," Xiang Xiang said obediently. Following this, Xiang Xiang bade farewell to Lu Zhenghao. "Patriarch Lu, young mistress, see you later." Lu Ming cupped his fists and left with Xiang Xiang, disappearing from the sight of Lu Zhenghao and the others. After flying for a while, Lu Ming took out the piercing sky shuttle. The four of them boarded the shuttle and headed toward the Dragon God Valley. Chapter 1589. The Lu family fort was very close to the Dragon God Valley. They arrived shortly after taking the flying shuttle. As they approached the Dragon God Valley, the group got off the flying shuttle and stepped into the Dragon God Valley, heading towards the Cloud Dragon Valley. "Xiang Xiang, are you cold?" Lu Ming turned to look at Xiang Xiang. The little girl's face was red from the cold. "I'm not cold." Xiang Xiang shook her head. A layer of green light emanated from her body to block the cold air outside. Below them, the snowy mountain passed by. Soon, they arrived at the Cloud Dragon Valley. "Ming come to my cave abode." Lu Ming and the rest had just stepped into the Cloud Dragon Valley when the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. With the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's cultivation, his spiritual consciousness could cover the entire Cloud Dragon Valley. It was not difficult for him to know that they had returned. "Senior brother, senior sister, Master is looking for me. I'll go to Master's cave abode first," Lu Ming said. "All right, junior brother, go ahead. Let's go back to the cave abode first," Xuaning said. Lu Ming nodded and led Xiang Xiang deeper into the Cloud Dragon Valley. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's cave abode. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was sitting on a futon in the cave abode. "Disciple Lu Ming greets Master." Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. "Grand Disciple Xiang Xiang greets Grand Master." Xiang Xiang was very obedient. When she saw Lu Ming bowing, she hurriedly bowed as well. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was slightly taken aback. He looked at Xiang Xiang and asked, "Ming, is this your disciple?" "Yes, this is the disciple I took in a year ago. I'll need Master's guidance in the future," Lu Ming said. The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley sized up Xiang Xiang carefully. Then, his eyes flickered and he revealed a look of surprise. Following which, the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley seemed to have a glint in his eyes as he carefully stared at Xiang Xiang. The more he looked at her, the stronger the glint in his eyes became. Finally, a look of shock flashed across his face. "Ming, this disciple of yours is incredible," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master exclaimed. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He knew that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had noticed that Xiang was extraordinary. "Little girl, come here and let your Grandmaster take a good look," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said gently. "Yes, Grandmaster." Xiang obediently walked over to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's side. "Ha ha ha, what a sensible little girl. Little girl, your master might not have that much time to guide you. In the future, Grandmaster will guide you in your cultivation." Yunlongu stroked Xiang's head and laughed. "Thank you, Master." Lu Ming was overjoyed. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's cultivation level was much higher than his. It was unfathomable. If he were to guide Xiang, she would be much stronger than if he were to guide her. Ming, after being outside for a year, how is the removal of the killing intent in the depths of your soul? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's tone changed. "It has been completely removed." Lu Ming nodded. "That's good. Ming, let me tell you a piece of bad news. A few days ago, I received news that the Divine Son of the Sky Divinity sect has broken through to the sacred realm," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said with a solemn expression. "The Divine Son has broken through to the sacred realm?" Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. "Ming, there is still 1.5 years until the next treasure sorting meeting. In this 1.5 years, even if you cultivate with all your might, it will be difficult for you to catch up to the Divine Son. Therefore, I will send you to a place where you might have a chance to fight," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. "Master, where is it?" Lu Ming asked curiously. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master had said a year ago that he would send him to a place and asked him to return after a year. Lu Ming had always been very curious. That place is called the 100-Tribe Battlefield. It is an extremely dangerous place, but also a place filled with endless opportunities. Only by going there will you have a chance to fight with the Divine Son in the next treasure sorting meeting. As for the specific situation, I will tell you when we arrive at the place of departure. Alright, bring Xiang out and arrange a place for Xiang to stay. Bring her to familiarize herself with the Cloud Dragon Valley. We will depart in 3 days," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming nodded and bade farewell to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. He then left the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's cave dwelling with Xiang. After that, Lu Ming picked a cave dwelling near his cave dwelling for Xiang to stay in. The Cloud Dragon Valley was extremely huge and there were many cave dwellings. However, there were only slightly more than 100 people, so most of the cave dwellings were empty. Xiang, you can ask me if you have any questions about your cultivation during this period of time," Lu Ming said to Xiang. "Yes, Master. I do have some questions." Xiang nodded and began to ask all the questions she had during this period of time. Lu Ming patiently answered Xiang one by one. Half a day later, Xiang returned to the cave dwelling to cultivate in satisfaction. Lu Ming appeared in the mountain river diagram. Ming Lian's second body sat on a mountain peak in the mountain river diagram. A stone plate floated above his head and emitted a vast and terrifying aura. This stone plate was the Taiji stone plate that he had obtained from the Tianfeng Plains. During this period of time, Ming Lian's second body had been studying it. In the end, he concluded that it should be a formation plate, an extremely terrifying formation plate. With the help of this formation plate, Ming Lian's second body had consecutively lit 2 spirit lamps in a short period of time. Now, Ming Lian's second body had already lit 8 spirit lamps. Over the past year, his second body had been cultivating and had made great progress. With his second body's current cultivation, he could communicate with the precepts through inscriptions and try to use the power of the precepts to become a sage to be. However, Lu Ming would not do so now. 8 spirit lamps were too few. He needed to light 10 spirit lamps before he could consider becoming a sage to be. Lu Ming called this formation plate the Taiji formation plate. Buzz! With a thought, golden spirit fire spread out from between Ming Lian's second body's eyebrows and poured into the Taiji formation plate. Suddenly, the Taiji formation plate shone and a Taiji yin-yang diagram appeared, emitting a terrifying pressure. The Taiji yin-yang diagram seemed to contain terrifying killing and sealing power. It was highly likely that it was an imperial weapon, which was on the same level as the Phoenix Ancient Mirror. With Ming Lian's second body's cultivation, it was difficult for him to unleash 1/10,000th of the Taiji formation plate's power. Even so, Lu Ming felt that Ming Lian's second body could easily kill a 9th-level martial royal or even an ordinary sage-to-be by controlling the Taiji formation plate. Lu Ming's face revealed a satisfied smile. He had gained a lot in the Tianfeng Plains this time. Just this Taiji formation plate alone was a priceless treasure. It had greatly increased Lu Ming's combat strength. Ming Lian's second body could become Lu Ming's strongest trump card. After looking at it for a while, Lu Ming's main body left the mountain river diagram and closed his eyes to cultivate. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming told Xiang Xiang to stay in the Cloud Dragon Valley and went to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's Cave again. Ming, I'll take you to Cloud Emperor Mountain first. If you want to go to the 100-tribe battlefield, you must go through Cloud Emperor Mountain. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master explained. Cloud Emperor Mountain. Lu Ming was confused as he had never heard of such a place in the Tsang continent. Cloud Emperor Mountain is not located in the Tsang continent, but in another continent close to the Tsang continent called Cloud Continent. Cloud Emperor Mountain is the strongest force in Cloud Continent and has a martial monarch expert. Chapter 1590. An Emperor-class force. Lu Ming's heart trembled. An Emperor-class force had a great emperor overseeing it. It was more powerful than any sect in Tsang State and even more powerful than all the sects in Tsang State combined. Having a great emperor overseeing it and not overseeing it were two completely different things. However, the books that Lu Ming had read previously only introduced Tsang State. There was very little information outside of Tsang State. Yuan continent is vast and boundless. Every emperor-class expert can occupy a territory and establish a force. That territory is a state and it is called by the name of the Great Emperor. The Great Emperor of Cloud Emperor Mountain is called Cloud Emperor. Therefore, the territory that Cloud Emperor is in is called Cloud State. Tsang State originated from Emperor Tsang. If a new Great Emperor appears in Tsang State in the future, the name might change. Cloud Dragon Valley Master explained. A great emperor can establish a state. Lu Ming couldn't help but yearn for it. Tsang State was so vast, but it was only the territory that Emperor Tsang occupied. Master, how many states are there in Yuan continent? Lu Ming asked curiously. Cloud Dragon Valley Master shook his head and said, Yuan continent is too vast and there are countless states. I don't know either. Countless states? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Each state represented a great emperor. Could there be that many great emperors in Yuan continent? Ming, I have a map here. It shows some of the territories near Tsang State. Take a good look on the way. A jade talisman appeared in Cloud Dragon Valley Master's hand and he passed it to Lu Ming. Then, he waved his hand and brought Lu Ming to the sky outside Divine Dragon Valley. Then, he waved his hand and a flying shuttle appeared in the sky. The flying shuttle was purple gold in color. It had a smooth curve and there were mysterious patterns carved on it. It looked very beautiful. At first glance, one could tell that it was much more advanced than the flying shuttle that Lu Ming had. Ming, come on up. Cloud Dragon Valley Master stepped into the flying shuttle and Lu Ming followed behind. Swoosh! Cloud Dragon Valley Master controlled the flying shuttle and it turned into a ray of light and disappeared. So fast! Lu Ming looked out through the crystal glass. The mountains and rivers below passed by in the blink of an eye at an incredible speed. It was at least dozens of times faster than his sky-piercing shuttle. This was definitely a top-notch flying shuttle. Lu Ming observed for a while before sitting down with his legs crossed. He then took out the jade talisman that Valley Master Yunlong had given him. With a sweep of his spiritual sense, a map was projected into Lu Ming's mind. This map was divided into different regions, and each region was a large state. There were a total of dozens of large states, and they were all states near the Tsang state. The Tsang prefecture was in the southeast of the map, close to the boundless ocean. The Cloud prefecture where the Cloud Emperor Mountain was located was in the northwest of the Tsang prefecture, close to the Tsang prefecture. That's Emperor District's D family. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. In the north of the Azure prefecture, there was another prefecture called the Emperor prefecture. It was stated that the Emperor prefecture was under the control of the D clan. Could it be D Xian's family, the D family, actually has a great emperor? Lu Ming frowned slightly. I once injured D Xian in the Divine Wilderness continent. I'm afraid he won't let it go so easily. I have to find a chance to get rid of him in the future to prevent future troubles. Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, Lu Ming imprinted the map in his mind and quietly cultivated. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's sky-piercing shuttle was too fast. In just 2 days, they had crossed the entire Tsang state, entered the Cloud state, and arrived at a vast mountain. Here, the two got off the sky-piercing shuttle. What a majestic mountain! Looking at the mountain in front of him, Lu Ming couldn't help but exclaim. The Tsang mountains were already majestic, but there was still a big gap between them and the mountain in front of him. So this is the Cloud Emperor Mountain. Looking at the mountain from afar, Lu Ming could feel an imperious aura being emitted from the Cloud Emperor Mountain. It was as if the aura was standing at the peak of the world, causing everyone to bow down and worship it. This was the imperiousness of a martial monarch. There was a martial monarch hibernating in the mountain. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master took out a sound-conducting jade talisman and transmitted a message. Not long after, an old man in a white robe arrived from the Cloud Emperor Mountain. Brother Yun, why are you so free today to visit my Cloud Emperor Mountain? The old man in the white robe said with a smile. It's nothing much, I'm just here to send my disciple to the 100-tribe battlefield and visit your old friend. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Ha, you're not here to visit me, you're here to send your disciple to the 100-tribe battlefield. The old man in the white robe burst out laughing as he glanced at Lu Ming and said, Brother Yun, your disciple's cultivation is only at the peak 6th layer martial dominator realm. Isn't it a bit too low for him to enter the 100-tribe battlefield? The 100-tribe battlefield is filled with danger. It's fine, the danger is the best way to train him. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Alright, come with me. The Cloud Emperor Mountain is going to arrange for a group of young geniuses to enter the 100-tribe battlefield to train themselves. You can go together and take care of each other. The old man in the white robe said. He then led Lu Ming and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master into the Cloud Emperor Mountain and arranged a residence for them to stay in. Brother Yun, stay here for 2 days. I'll bring this young man to the 100-tribe battlefield in 2 days' time. After saying this, the old man in the white robe left. Ming, you must be curious about what kind of place the 100-tribe battlefield is, right? At that instant, the Cloud Space Valley Master glanced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded his head. He was indeed curious about it. Legend has it that in ancient times, the 100-tribe war took place in that area. That war caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. It was incomparably tragic. Legend has it that many Emperor-level experts died. That was the 100-tribe battlefield. Because too many experts died in the 100-tribe battlefield, especially Emperor-level experts, the laws of heaven and earth in that area were messed up. Since the Saint Realm experts had comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, they could not enter at all. Once they entered, they would be affected by the chaotic laws of heaven and earth, causing their own laws to be disrupted. Once a Saint Realm expert entered, his laws would be disrupted and he would die of madness. In the lightest case, his cultivation would be crippled. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master explained. It's that terrifying? Lu Ming was shocked. That's right. Therefore, experts above the Saint Realm do not dare to enter the 100-tribe battlefield. Only those below the Saint Realm can enter. As for the half-sages, some have comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, but they are not strong enough, so they can also enter. Moreover, there are too many experts who participated in the 100-tribe battlefield, and too many experts have died. That territory is filled with countless treasures, and it is simply a huge treasure trove. Many Emperor-level forces will send experts in, and over time, it has evolved into a training ground for prodigies. Today, it has become the top choice for the various Emperor-level forces prodigies to train. Many exceptional prodigies from Emperor-level forces enter to train themselves in life and death situations, seeking breakthroughs. Therefore, it is a place where opportunities and dangers coexist. Because many prodigies enter to train themselves, there is no need for a reason to make a move there. As long as someone feels that you are worthy of training, they will make a move on you. Chapter 1591. Why wouldn't I dare? That's exactly what I want. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation and a strong desire to battle. The 100-race battlefield was actually a training ground for the various Emperor-level factions. How many geniuses would gather there? Lu Ming felt the blood in his body start to boil. Only then would it be interesting to clash with other geniuses and force Lu Ming to advance quickly. Ming, I was right about you. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master smiled, but in the next moment, his smile disappeared and his face turned serious. Cultivators, especially geniuses, are often able to unlock their potential and break through their shackles in the face of death. Therefore, anyone who dares to enter the 100-race battlefield is a genius among geniuses. Furthermore, they are mentally tough and have terrifying battle abilities. Because ordinary people don't dare to enter the 100-race battlefield, life and death battles are too common. Therefore, Ming, you must be careful and not let your guard down. I understand. Lu Ming nodded. I have an introduction to the 100-race battlefield here. Take a look, it will be of some help to you. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master took out a jade talisman and handed it to Lu Ming. Then, the two returned to their rooms. Lu Ming took out the jade talisman and read it. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. 2 days later, the white-robed elder came to the courtyard. Little guy, come with me. The white-robed elder smiled. Master, I'll take my leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists at the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Go, I believe in you. You will definitely be able to defeat a strong opponent in the next treasure sorting meeting. At that time, you will be able to look down on the younger generation of the Tsang state. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Brother Yun, you have a lot of confidence in your disciple. The white-robed elder smiled and waved his hand. A gush of energy shrouded Lu Ming and he soared into the sky with Lu Ming. After a while, the white-robed elder brought Lu Ming to a canyon. In the canyon, there was a huge altar with inscriptions carved all around. Teleportation altar. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this was a teleportation altar. This was his first time seeing a teleportation altar in the Yuan continent. The Yuanlu space was too stable. If one wanted to set up a teleportation altar to teleport across regions, the price would be very high. The amount of resources required would also be shocking. In the Divine Dragon Valley, there were only teleportation altars that led to the sea. There weren't any teleportation altars that led to the other regions of the Yuan continent. Perhaps, only imperial forces had them. Beside the altar, there were 4 young men. 1 woman and 3 men. The woman was tall and slender. She wore silver armor, but it still couldn't hide her fiery figure. She looked valiant and cool. The other 3 young men were wearing white robes with clouds embroidered on them. When the white-robed old man arrived with Lu Ming, the 4 young men looked at Lu Ming curiously. Let me introduce him to you. His name is Lu Ming. He will be going to the 100-tribe battlefield with you. The white-robed old man gave a simple introduction. Lu Ming. That's an unfamiliar name. Why haven't I heard of it before? One of the young men was puzzled. He had dark green hair and looked very conspicuous. He's not from Cloud Emperor Mountain. He's from Tsangzhou. The white-robed old man introduced. Tsangzhou? When the green-haired young man heard that Lu Ming was from Tsangzhou, his eyes were filled with disdain. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "You're only a rank 6 Marshal Royal. How dare you enter the 100-tribe battlefield? You're courting death." Lu Ming frowned and said, "I'll be careful in the 100-tribe battlefield." "Careful? Are you trying to rely on us? Let me tell you, if you encounter danger in the 100-tribe battlefield, we won't save you." The green-haired young man sneered and his eyes were filled with disdain. "I'll be responsible for my own life. If I encounter danger and get killed, it's because I'm not skilled enough." Lu Ming's voice turned cold. The tone of the green-haired young man had displeased him. Seeing that Lu Ming dared to speak to him with a cold expression, the green-haired young man harumphed as his eyes flickered and said, "Trash from Cangzhou, let's see how you'll die." "Yun Kai, that's enough, that's enough." At this moment, the lady in silver armor scolded. The green-haired young man seemed to be afraid of the lady in silver armor. He chuckled coldly and did not say anything else. "Lu Ming, I'm Yinshi." The lady in silver armor introduced herself. "Nice to meet you." Lu Ming nodded. "Lu Ming, don't mind Yinkai's words. Since you're going to the 100-tribe battlefield with us, we'll take care of each other when the time comes," Yinshi said. In other words, if they were to encounter danger, they would take care of Lu Ming as long as it was within their capabilities. These geniuses from monarch factions had a sense of superiority when facing those who were not from monarch factions. Although Yinshi was amiable, she still had a faint sense of superiority. Lu Ming smiled slightly and did not comment, nor did he explain. "Lu Ming, these two are called Yunfeng and Yunk." Then, Yinshi introduced the other two young men to Lu Ming. The other two young men nodded slightly at Lu Ming. "All right, now that you all know each other, let's go," the white-robed old man said. Everyone nodded and stepped onto the teleportation altar one after another. The white-robed old man waved his hand, and the altar began to glow. A spatial door was formed, and Lu Ming and the other four stepped in one after another. Heaven and earth spun, and Lu Ming felt his vision darken. What a strong spatial rotational force! A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The more stable the space was, the stronger the rotational force during spatial teleportation. The next moment, the rotational force disappeared, and Lu Ming found himself on a huge platform. The platform should be on a mountain peak. Looking into the distance, what came into view was a boundless hilly area. The 100-tribe battlefield is up ahead. We are now outside the 100-tribe battlefield, Yinshi said. Lu Ming nodded. He had read the introduction of the 100-tribe battlefield that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had given him. Any monarch faction that wanted to enter the 100-tribe battlefield could only teleport outside the 100-tribe battlefield. Teleportation arrays could not be built inside the 100-tribe battlefield, as the laws were too chaotic. "Let's go," Yinshi said and led the way. This team was led by Yinshi. Her cultivation was the highest at 9th-level Martial Emperor, while the other three were 8th-level Martial Emperors. Moreover, those who dared to enter the 100-tribe battlefield to train were all very strong. Lu Ming estimated that Yunshi and the other three were all superior earthly spiritual bodies. The 5 of them flew forward, and soon, a deep ditch appeared in front of them. This ditch was created by later generations. "It's a sign that we have officially entered the 100-tribe battlefield," Yinshi said. The 5 of them flew over the ditch.